Today's conversation gives you a look behind the curtain. We're talking with brokers about the things agents usually don't get to hear, how decisions are actually made, what matters when markets shift, and why some models protect agents better than others over the long run. We get into mentorship, accessibility, and what it really means when a broker says they have your back, not in theory, but in practice. You'll hear stories about growth, mistakes, and lessons learned the hard way, and why experience at the broker level directly impacts your day-to-day business as an agent. This conversation is about stability, support, and building a career that can weather different markets without burning you out. If you've ever wondered what your broker sees, how leadership decisions affect you, or what kind of environment actually helps agents thrive, this one's for you. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. This is Brenda Thompson. I am the host of Just Show Up, the podcast where we normally talk to real estate agents about their journeys. Today, I'm excited to have some of my colleagues along with us. So we have two fellow HomeSmart owners, franchise owners, and brokers. So I would love to welcome to our podcast Rick Musto and Chris Carbone. So say hi, everybody. Kind of tell each of us about where you're at.
Hey there. This is Rick. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here, Brenda, and I love working with you and Chris. Of course, we know each other for many years now, but I'm excited to be able to get the story out about sort of how I grew in the business and how it evolved into becoming a broker owner and a franchise owner, actually. I've been in the business about 20 plus years. Prior to that, I was in corporate America about the same, almost the same length of time. Transitioned from a Fortune 500 sales and marketing company to real estate as an agent, and then ended up purchasing an independent brokerage that some mortgage friends of mine had. And it was a transaction-based model like we are at HomeSmart. So I've always had that type of model. And then about 6 years ago, HomeSmart got on my radar, and I ended up buying a franchise here in Georgia. And now I've also got a second one in Pensacola, HomeSmart Sunshine Realty.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Hello,
Chris.
everybody. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for having me. My name is Chris Carbone. I'm the broker owner of HomeSmart Homes and Estates in New York. Proud to say I was a trailblazer with bringing HomeSmart to New York. We've since grew from 3 offices in New York, 2 offices in Connecticut. We started with 2 agents, and now we're just about 200 agents.
That's awesome. And you all know me from the podcast, but I am Brenda Thompson. I am the broker and franchise owner of HomeSmart Stars in North Texas. Our office sits in Plano, but our agents are kind of scattered throughout the state of Texas, but primarily in North Texas. And I was, like Chris said, able to bring the brand to North Texas. So there was not HomeSmart in the North Texas area. So I'm excited to be here and taking care of our agents every day.
Yeah, that is the joy of what we do every day.
It is, isn't it?
Is truly my why.
And it's funny that is that also. Just recently, I've started talking about kind of a work-life balance, and I think trying to focus on it because my why is my agents also. And so it's easy to be in that zone all the time. And I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But every once in a while, you're like, okay, wait a second. I need to do something for home too.
That can wait. That can always wait. When an agent has, an urge, we're always here when they need us, right? And that's really is such a joy. I tell agents all the time, favorite part of the day is when my phone rings and it's an agent and they're calling me, whether it's just a quick question or they're dealing with an unruly agent. Do we have any of those? Or they just want to talk something out, or they have a new idea. And, everything that they're dealing with on a daily basis, I get to bring that back to our agents during our trainings, our meetings, and they all know this, so we all get to learn from everybody else's experience because I'm sharing those stories.
That is so true. Rick, I'm sure you have the same thing happening with your 2 offices too.
Yeah, it keeps me busy. I do have a broker, Joy, who actually worked for me here in the Atlanta office. She was actually from Pensacola, coincidentally, and was wanting to move back there. And she had a real estate license, so she ended up becoming my broker since I could not be in a non-resident broker in Florida. So it worked out perfectly for me. I already knew her, and it's been wonderful. She actually still also handles operations for both. So she's basically compliance, which I like to say is that she's the paperwork Nazi. So everybody knows that if they don't get the paperwork in properly, the joy's going to be all over. So she's been wonderful. And then I have actually only one other employee, and that is Paul McParland, and he is my chief recruiter here. And he does it for both offices. But since we got 150 down in Pensacola, a little bit more time spent here because of the volume. So Paul, though, is actually a godsend too to me. He literally walked into my office about 5 years ago, said he had heard about me and that I had just started with HomeSmart. And he literally owned his own independent brokerage for several years. And he ended up selling it to Remax. And however, once they got over there, they decided that really wasn't for them. So he ended up leaving. And then he came by, and he's been wonderful because he's got even more experience in the business than I do. So I got a great small team here that helps me stay in touch. But the mantra for us, just like you guys had just said, is our agents. It's all that matters. They know they can call me anytime. Last night I had a call around 9:15. My wife said, "It's got to be one of your agents, right?" I said, "Yep, thumbs up." So she had an issue, and it was an urgent issue, and we talked through it and we got it resolved. But that's what I am. I'm just totally about our agents. Period.
Me too. And it's funny, our producer knows this because I was talking to her about it earlier this morning. But I actually said to her that what brings me joy during the day, and this sounds strange, but I think agents will appreciate it because you two touched on it just then too. What brings me joy is when an agent is having a problem and they can call me and they can reach me because I am accessible and they talk through their problem, which honestly I love because it tests my knowledge too. It makes me think about the contract and what is in different paragraphs and what protects our seller or what protects our buyer. And I'm able to talk that through with them and coach them through a situation to where I get it. They're dealing directly with the client and they're in the emotional piece of it, but we're able to coach them through the business side of it. Day after day, that's what brings me joy. And I hate it that it means that they're having a problem, but it means that I get to help them fix it. And that's what I love. Rick, thanks for sharing that too, because I didn't remember how you had opened your Florida office. So I like hearing that story because it talks about people who are familiar with our brand and want to be a part of us as well. So that kind of brings me to one of the questions that I wanted to bring up too is why HomeSmart? Of all the brokerage models that are out there, what was it that drew you to HomeSmart to want to buy a franchise, launch a franchise, and be here every day?
From my standpoint, as I said, we started, the guys that started it, the mortgage guys, it was always a transaction model. Okay. So that's all I really knew in the business. I didn't know the split traditional processes. I remember this well. I was reading Inman News like about maybe, I don't know, 6.5 years ago. And there was an article in there about HomeSmart, and I'd never heard of them. And I'm reading it, and it says it's a transaction model, and they're a really growing company. They're based out in Scottsdale. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. So then I got to think about it. At that time, I had like 32 agents. So at that point, I said, you know what? I'm going to get in touch. So I picked up the phone and I called HomeSmart, and they connected me with Brian Brooks, who's in charge of franchise sales. And we struck up a conversation, and they said, hey, let's see what we can do. So that's what happened. And it's been a fantastic marriage, if you will, for me. And I liked it so much, I said, I'm going to open something up in Florida too. A couple years later, I bought the second franchise in Pensacola. Now, down there, what I did is I started actually from scratch about the same time that I was thinking about going into the franchise side of things. So I had like 5 agents, but I did an acquisition of an independent brokerage who was also a transaction model. And they had about 60, I guess, agents. So we did the acquisition. Didn't turn out as well as I wanted to because actually I had to have a lawsuit against him for non-compete. But I got a bunch of great agents as a result. And so it all worked out in the end. But it was another lesson learned on what you need to do and not do when you do some acquisitions with people.
Yeah.
We chalk it all up to experience gained.
That's right. That's right. Totally.
For me, HomeSmart was really an easy choice. I was a broker owner of another national franchise for 10 years before discovering HomeSmart. And it was actually pretty ironic. Quite frankly, I was always 100% brokerage. It was kind of a new thing around, on the East Coast. There wasn't that many of them. There was a handful, but they were not full service brokerages to their agents or to their clients and customers. So the brokerage that I was with, I've been licensed since 99. And the reason why it was an easy choice for me is I started with what I like to call a 50-50 brokerage, right? That's kind of how I explain it to new agents coming in. I always ask if when they went through school, through real estate school, as they all do, did anyone explain the different types of models to you? And I tell you, hands down, the answer is always no. So I take a few moments and I, say, talk to them about the 50-50 brokerages, and maybe you have a franchise on that. Then you'll have your desk fee brokerages, which you're paying a fixed shared expense, and you may get a little bit of a higher split. Then you have your other alternative style brokerages, and you have your profit sharing model. So when I first started, I was with that 50-50 brokerage. Then I moved to a desk fee brokerage. And now, of course, with the 100%, it all makes sense. So the way it all kind of comes together with the 50-50s, it's low risk, low reward. With the desk fee brokerages, you have a higher risk with a better reward. But then you have HomeSmart, where you have a low risk with a high reward for the agent. And that's really what made me choose HomeSmart and give up my very successful other national brand that I was a broker owner for 10 years.
My answer to this kind of leads me to my next question too, because all three of us are very agent centric by personal nature, as well as our brand is too. And one of my deciding factors for choosing HomeSmart was about marketing and technology. Two personal hot buttons for me. Like, I love to be able to offer agents the best marketing tools, hands down, as compared to anywhere.
And how cool is it, Brenda, when somebody comes from another brokerage that's supposed to be tech savvy and they come and they see our system and they're like, this just blows it away.
And the question that always comes, wait, how much do I pay
And
extra for
how much?
this? No, you
All
don't.
this,
We
all
give it to you.
yeah, you get
So
that
for
question.
me, I like to say that we literally have a silver platter of tools, and we give them that silver platter. And, I hope that they take advantage of every tool that's there, but the ones they do are all quality to be on that silver platter. I love it. I love the technology that we have, our own proprietary technology that works. That's the key. It simply works. It's easy for an agent to use. It was built for agents, which, let's face it, not all agents are very tech savvy. They don't need to be with our systems. We give them great systems, we give them great tools, but the marketing pieces that we give them blow most agents away.
And being
Yeah.
proprietary really hits on the nose there, where we're not spending $500 million or combining with other financial institutions in order to run our business. And that's one of the reasons why we're able to do what we do for the agents is, it's proprietary. We get it as a reasonable cost to us, and we're able to pass that along to the agents.
Well, the other thing I got to toss out here that's sort of related to what we're talking about is the whole rebranding that HomeSmart just did. And
Yes.
the rebranding, and not only the logos itself that I think are just incredible, okay, but they also worked heavily on what we call our marketing design center that all the agents have access to, and the collateral materials that are in there and customizable, and just there's a ton of content, social media ads, all customizable. I mean, it just blows me away. I mean, it was good, okay, coming into last year. And then when they went into this conversion with the rebrand, it's blowing me away. But more importantly, it's blowing away our agents that are interacting with it and using it for marketing. And it's really, really been well received.
Yeah. What
It
do you guys
has
see?
been.
What piece do you see your agents using most?
Let's see. I would say social media, a lot of the graphics that are in there, customizable graphics. I'd say probably in general, the social media stuff is what's really grabbing them. Okay. That would be what I think my observation is.
So I agree with that 100%. I would add to that the market updates, because in less than 2 minutes, they can go in and create a market update for whatever city, zip code, county, whatever area it is that they want to
Yeah.
be adding an update for. And it pulls in the information automatically. And within 2 minutes, they have a graphic that is ready to be posted anywhere or print to put into a client packet.
That's beautiful. My agents are really utilizing the listing and buyer presentations. And that really came about, after last year, what we went through, showing more value and really having to present all that value to the buyers. As you guys know, our listing presentation it's combined with a buyer presentation. So you have everything all in one, which is just amazing. It's just such a time saver.
It
Yeah.
is.
And
And
those two buyer and seller booklets that they did, those are just, everybody loves those. Those are just, they're great. You don't have to have a ton of collateral. It's working with buyers, working with sellers. As far as the presentation, those things are amazing. Agents
well,
will
and what I
love.
love about those too is that for a brand new agent coming in who doesn't have a lot of, past closings to really be able to build upon, they can create those and theirs looks fabulous when they're
Yeah.
going out for their very first listing appointment and they have great collateral to leave behind for a client, and it's top notch. It is extremely well put together, and it's great quality. It looks good, and so that brand new agent who's in one of our mentorship programs and getting the hand holding that they need and that they desire, but they also have great collateral that they can leave behind with their first client too.
Mhm.
So let's talk about a little bit of local stuff. So I'm in Texas and our market is, I would say generally, we're a little behind what the country does as far as, adjustments for the market and everything. Talk a little bit about your local market and then how you being a local on-site broker and engage with your local agents is helpful to them.
I guess I'll take that since Atlanta starts with an A. So the Atlanta market is, I mean, let's see. I moved out here, 20 plus years ago, and Atlanta was growing at that time, and it's gone crazy since then. The whole state of Georgia is blown up. So from a real estate standpoint, that's ideal, obviously, because we have people moving here all the time that are getting transferred here, et cetera. So the market is very robust, very well economically. The state itself has put into place over many, many years business friendly type of legislation. So it's a very easy environment to work in. I know, Chris is up in New York. I know sometimes that gets a little, I think, tenuous with some of the regulations that go on in some of the states, but in Georgia and in Florida, we're, sort of blessed that we have a sort of a pro business approach from the political side, from the government side. So that's helped us immensely. And we are a melting pot here too of agents. And I've not done this, but I've thought about doing, I want to plot on the map where our agents are from. And I'm not talking just domestically. I'm talking internationally. I have literally Asian agents from, I believe, actually, I've got two agents actually that are from Australia. I was going to say, I think I've got every continent except, the Arctic caps, but we've got agents that are from all walks of life, which is great because we've got a pretty diverse citizenship here, the population here. So we've got agents that service all of those various sort of sub markets. So that's been great too with our growth.
I hadn't thought about the continents. I think our agents, I like to say we, but I speak English only, but I like to say we speak somewhere around 30 languages. And, it speaks to each of our markets are melting pots. And I haven't thought about, do we originate from every continent? And we probably do. And I like that as a statement too. I'll have to put some thought to that. But I do. I love that, we're able to take care of buyers and sellers and meet them where they are. And that's important for them.
Yeah. Our market is so diverse. Not only do we cover New York and Connecticut, we are in 6 counties, including the 5 boroughs of New York City. So we have agents that are listing homes in Queens. So talk about a melting pot. We just closed a house in Brooklyn. So we're dealing with those multifamily brownstones, commercial properties in Manhattan, all the way up. We're geographically spread probably about 65 miles from the center of the territory of the HomeSmart franchise is. Like yourself, Rick, you had bought two. I think I'm into it for, 3, 4, 5, I think by now. We started off with my home county area, and then we went down south, and the goal was to kind of infiltrate every in between and then grow that way. And then we trailblazed into Connecticut as well. Geographically, we go from, like I said, the 5 boroughs of Manhattan to wineries and apple picking and cow farms, 45 miles north of the George Washington Bridge. So if you kind of get an idea of where we are, from the mouth of the Hudson River, just go straight on up to almost Albany, New York. And
Wow.
then just span each side, look to the right, look to the left. There's a major highway that runs from Pennsylvania right through Connecticut, and that kind of separates the middle of the territory, and that'll pinpoint where you can find us. As you can imagine, our median price range changes drastically between these counties. So we're dealing with, an average price of $750 in one county and an average price of $425 just 25 miles away. So that's pretty amazing. And to be a local broker in that area, it's pretty amazing. I get to visit agents all over the place, from, right outside the bedroom communities of New York City to, again, the hanging out at breweries and wineries. And it's just like, whoa, where do we do our next event now, right? Do we do it closer to like the Manhattan area, or do we do it upstate? So we have a lot of choice. It's pretty cool to be in that position.
One thing too, that's been a source for me, actually, are great agents around the country, because a number of them have decided to either move permanently or go back and forth here to Georgia. So I've got a few of Chris's agents have licenses here with us in Atlanta, and I've got other brokerages, other HomeSmart brokerages in the New York City area, as an example, that I have from Queens. I've got a lot of agents actually from Queens that have their license, with us here, and then up with Arthur up in Queens too. So that's been kind of a help for us recruiting agents, because they want to come down to Atlanta for a little bit of action.
We see that in our office too. So we have probably more agents that are dually licensed in Texas and in California. So we have several that are licensed in California. Of course, Oklahoma is just to the north of us. So we have some that are licensed in Oklahoma and Texas, and then Colorado and Florida. And I'm sure we have others too, but I can think of a couple of people that are dually licensed in Texas and in each of those. Louisiana is the other on the other border. And so they're able to service clients on, both locations. And in most of those, they live in one kind of more full time, but they're bouncing back and forth between the states. And it just works out great for them to have two licenses and for it to be a HomeSmart license in both places.
That's right. And that's a huge benefit. I don't think there's a week that goes by where I don't get a call from an agent. Hey, I'm thinking about getting licensed in PA. Just happened to me yesterday. Or I'm thinking about getting licensed in Connecticut or New Jersey. And who do do you know anybody? I'm like, of course I know somebody, We've got Hakan and Rob in Jersey and Pennsylvania and Bill. And it's just so amazing that's one of the things I actually love about HomeSmart is, again, it's corny. My agents know the family thing. We take the F out of family, replace it with B for a business. So it's our business family, our family. That translates right up to our brokers, where I know I can pick up the phone. I have somebody on the other line that, whether it's an agent looking to hang their license in that second location, or if we just need to talk something out, it's just really cool how I can say that I know everybody in our network. And then when we get together for our annual conventions and our growth summit, it just feels like, our family getting together and meeting all the top agents from those offices that go there as well. It really enhances our referral network.
Well, too, and I got to say that for the owners, that we get together at least once a year. And for me, it's been amazing. Okay, what I've learned from the other owners, including a couple on this call too, with their knowledge and their ideas, and everybody is genuine, sincere, and they're into sharing. So we have some great meetings with the owners where we go over best practices, and And it's just incredible environment that we've got from an owner standpoint too.
Yeah, I hate to say this out loud because, you don't wanna I always like when you hear something from somebody else and not one of the brokers, but I know you guys could probably agree. Every time if there's an vendor or an outside company that's visiting us at our annual meetings, major well-known national speakers that come to visit us, right? They flat out say there's nothing like HomeSmart, nothing like the HomeSmart feeling, what we're doing, our vision. It's all about the agents. We kind of started talking off that, started the conversation that way. And that's what it is. It's truly about the agents, and you just don't get that everywhere.
And it's funny too, because we each have our local offices that we foster that culture of collaboration with each other and helping each other. And it goes up and down, right? So, and out, because we share with each other as the franchise owners, and we share with what, you know, HomeSmart International in Scottsdale, Arizona at the corporate headquarters shares with us. And it's just a continual sharing of best practices and ideas. And I love how that translates to our agents, because they know that when they come in and sit with me, I'm able to give them an answer that's not only the answer from my experience, but that I can say, well, I've checked with my colleagues, and here's what we collectively,
Yeah, right.
what I'm hearing as far as numbers on this topic.
Mhm.
And our agents at the local level love that, because they love the local leader that they can go into and talk to and get answers from, and kind of, hand holding along the way if they're going through a tough transaction or a tough time. But to know that we are supported, that we, as their leader, have support from others who are like minded as well.
Right. And, to your point, we get together twice a month as a group. And Brenda is a leader in one of those groups and brought us together and get that secondary group together, which really helped us share our ideas, what's working, what's not working. And then the second meeting, HomeSmart International is involved, and we're getting all the updated information from our industry leader Todd Sumney, who's absolutely amazing. And then again, on top of just the regular calls that we get to pick up the phone and when we need something and chat it out with everybody.
It's good to know that you have people to call for just about anything. And our agents call on us because they know we're in the office and we're taking care of them. I think we all serve on committees and positions within our associations. One of the ones I serve on is the professional standards at the state level. And I tell my agents it's so that I'm spending time away from them, so that I'm learning about the things that could get them in trouble, so I can help to protect them from getting in trouble. And I like that I'm able to do that for them. And then, like you said, we have HomeSmart International kind of paying attention to industry-wide things that we need to pay attention to also. So they're helping us.
It's happening right now. Inman, we've got a handful of our leadership team down there now as well. I took a little bit more of a fun route, Brenda. We have a foundation. So I'm the chair of the volunteer committee. So we do a lot of local volunteering. We get the agents together, from so many different organizations. There's two aspects to that foundation. There's the HGAR foundation. There's I guess the check writing part of it, where, we'll actually write checks to certain organizations, right, to help them with their cause. And then the second layer is the volunteer aspect, where we get together, usually a group of 8 to 12 agents, and we're doing everything from planting flowers to packing backpacks and feeding the hungry. It's pretty awesome.
And agents love that community. They love to be able to serve, just like we like to be able to serve our agents. Our agents like to be able to share in serving the communities that we're working with. So that's a great role model to be for them too. If there is anything that you're seeing changes or shifts in our industry as a whole that we need to make sure our agents are, or even the agents watching this need to know to prepare for. And One of the things I'll bring up myself with changes in regulation in the way that we represent buyers and the way that we need to have documentation in place. One of the things that I love is being able to share on a regular basis with our agents, like, okay, we have this new form. This is how you need to fill it out. You have to get this up, and here's where you upload it. And it's really easy. But when we share it with them in a format that makes it easy for them, it helps because I think they see so often the news headlines, whether it's on TV or in the real estate industry headlines that we see and we get emails about. And I think everyone competes for the headline that catches the most attention. But I
Right.
like that we're able to position that to the agent to where they shouldn't fear. We're here to walk through this with them together.
We did over
I
80
think
hours of
a
training.
little different angle on that to the degree that, first of all, even in high school, I was voted as the optimist of the year or whatever they called that. Okay. So I've always
What? You
been,
weren't like,
no, no. Yeah. I played football until my growth stopped at 5'5", and that was the end of my football, and even consider basketball. But what I like to do is really focus on the attention for the agents. And there's a lot of industry stuff that goes on and everything, but I say, here's the deal. People are always buying and selling houses, and that's really what we're in the business for. So don't get too caught up in the sort of industry clutter that's going on and everything. Examples are, like, well, the whole commission debacle that was going on and all that stuff. And it's like, here's the deal. Way before that, okay, I and most good agents, okay, had full disclosure. Okay, so whether we had a specific form or not wasn't really the issue at the time. It is now. But it was like, we just sit down and have a conversation with buyers and sellers and let them know, here's how I do business with my clients. And, you explain everything to them. You're very open. You're very honest. I mean, I try to keep that focus a little bit to stay away a little bit from what's kind of going on in the industry. And quite honestly, a lot of my agents, they're not as involved in an association as maybe we might be as broker owners. They're just out there, living life and enjoying what they do, but they got some other things in their life, family or whatever it might be. So I try to keep it a little bit more kind of grounded, day to day, like life things. But that's just kind of how I approach things.
well, Matt Widow said one day on stage, ignore the noise, right? So I do agree with you, Rick. That being said, we talk about everything. I do a coffee with the broker twice a month, alternating Tuesdays from our meeting days. And I'll always have something for them, whether, obviously AI is a huge thing in the industry right now for, what it can do in their marketing. We talk from, AI, what's happening with Bitcoin right now. I'm kind of like sitting here on the edge of my chair.
Yeah, it's sell, sell.
Sell. You better not sell right now.
Well, the selling's over. Well, hopefully it's over. You're right. Yeah, it's a
So
reset.
it was just passed down $61,000.
Is it really down to 61? Oh gosh.
So
Mercy.
yeah, so if you don't sell. But yeah, we talk about everything as far as that's concerned. Things that are going to benefit them that they do need to be aware of. I talk to a lot of outside agents, and some of the topics that we would think they would be involved in, they have no idea. And for example, I was talking with a Compass agent the other day, and I asked her what she thought of everything that's going on, and she was like, "What? What do you mean?" She had no idea. She has no idea what's happening. I had to explain this. I had to tell her everything what's going on. So that was I was actually pretty shocked about that. And I have different feelings on that. And, as far as moving away from the MLS in some of these brokerages, what they're trying to do, for me, it's always going to be about client. And that's what we tell our agents. So some houses, maybe they'll benefit from not going on to a multiple listing service. You guys were active agents like I was. And sometimes people said, oh, maybe we could just kind of keep it quiet. I want to sell it. And I would have to explain to them, I could sell your house tomorrow, probably to show it 3-4 people, but we have to get it out there to the entire pool. Just like if someone's interested in buying this pen, right? If you two want to buy it, great, I can sell it. But if we get 7 more people interested, we're probably going to get more money for it. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the noise because I talk about that a lot in our office too, about cut out the noise, and especially for new agents. And I think that's the great advice for a new agent. Find something to be consistent with, to stay focused on, stay focused. There will always be noise in every industry, everything. Turn on the TV, it's full of noise. There have been times in my real estate career, when we were going through times of crash, that I literally turned the TV off. And I told my family, I said, I'm not watching TV. Tell me if there's a real emergency that I need to know about because I'm turning everything off. And I think that there are times that people do have to choose to do that, not listen to the noise, not listen to it, and just stay focused. There is enough real estate out there for all of this. That's the one thing. Everyone needs a place to live, literally. So we get to help everyone.
That's right. There's 4 million homes are going to sell this year, or maybe just shy of 4 million, right? I
Yep.
always ask the question, how many do you want to sell?
Chris just wants 1 million of those, right, Chris?
You know, it's a pretty awesome how, this whole industry is just pretty amazing. Not only as a broker owner, but as agents, where when agents come into the business, they have an opportunity to help people, make friends, and make some good money while they're doing it.
I'm cautious when I say this because I want to say, and have a little bit of control over their schedule. And I say that if they're comparing it to the corporate job, the corporate 9 to 5, where they don't get to leave for their child's, I don't know, donuts with dad. And so I do say that they get to choose to have a little control over their schedule. And then yet at the same time, we're all working crazy hours. We're all working evenings and weekends. But I like that the individual gets to be involved with the things that they want to be involved in and still be making a living too.
Yes, we're teaching a lot of the ninja practices. We started this ironically about 1.5 years ago, getting back to basics and your sphere. One of the main reason was that the leads, they weren't that the leads were coming in were bad. It's just the leads had very little choice to buy something between prices and inventory. So really, a lot of agents were spending money getting leads, but they just weren't ready, or the market didn't allow them to purchase. So concentrating back to the basics, daily habits, being consistent, picking three daily habits and 5 weekly habits, you'll get that return tenfold.
I heard something just with less than a week ago, because I like to listen to a lot of different sort of podcasts on, business and ideas, et cetera. And I forget who it was, but it was they use what they call a 3-2-1 method. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I had not. And it's 3 hours a day prospecting, 2 hours a day working on existing business, whatever that might entail. And then like an hour a day, we really just focus specifically on yourself, okay, for whatever that might be. Obviously, you're going to do other things during the day, but to get into a routine, start it out in the morning, 3-2-1. And if you just do 3 as an agent, okay, if you just do the 3, you're going to be successful. As you all know on this call, it's just that you basically have to show up and you have to do some things. And I say show up, you could be home, you don't have to come to the office, but show up meaning be there, be present, and do some daily routines that'll get you more business. Boom. It's not really a complicated business. It really isn't. It's blocking and tackling, as I like to say.
It's a contact sport.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't have to be beat you up kind of contact. It is
No,
simply
not at all.
reach out. It's a reach out sport. I like the 3-2-1. And the title of this podcast is Just Show Up. And I always ask the question, what's the one thing that you have to show up for? And I love getting those answers because sometimes it is a business aspect. And sometimes it's a personal aspect. Rick, what you were giving the example of the 3-2-1 and that 1 hour being whatever it is that you need for yourself, which could be quiet time. It could be personal, like advancing your own skills in technology. It could be a devotional. It could be a lunch with a friend. But finding that time to just show up for yourself is so important too.
Totally.
And we have to keep that in mind always.
Absolutely.
And one other thing I'd like to add is, be, and I really just mean that, just be in the here and now, be whatever you're doing, just do that. Don't be distracted is easily. And I think maybe we're getting a little bit better at that. I know I do the do not disturb every once in a while when I have to be, but to be in the here and now, that's the greatest advice that I can give.
Being present for whatever you're at. And it is. how many devices do we have sitting around us at all times, right? And sometimes you do. You just have to focus on the one task. Studies now say we're not good multitaskers like we have thought we were. So we should be present in the one thing at a time. Okay, this is awesome. Do you all have anything you want to add to this? Last thoughts?
I've spent all the knowledge that I have in this small brain of mine. It's spent. So I appreciate though the opportunity to get on here and chat with you on your podcast, Brenda. I'm so proud of you and excited for you that you've done this. It's really great. It's actually, I keep saying I need to do that too, but I haven't pulled the trigger. But again, just thanks for, having me on, and I appreciate talking to you and Chris today. It's been insightful and appreciated.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You and I had a conversation a few weeks back, and I was asking you about this, and um, something that's been on my to-do list, or something that I've been wanting to do. You've definitely inspired me to kind of get back to what I used to do a little bit more. I used to be known as Chris Live Carbone. I would go live everywhere and have a great time with it on social media. Then we kind of shifted. Your focus shifted. I am doing back to doing video, which, we've all been saying video was it. When YouTube came out, I was going to be the video king. I had one problem. I had to sell houses. And back then, right, I kind of went to the back burner. But now today we're able to doing a little bit more of that. It's just been great. So hopefully we'll be able to have you as a guest soon.
I would love that.
I love that. And so definitely thank you. I love the opportunity to be here. And I do want to hear a little bit more, though. I want to ask you some questions.
Uh-oh. Okay. So, and I will say this just to follow up on what you said too, that, we tell our agents all the time, take some video. And that is one of the things that I tell agents, if they're trying to drum up new business or get out of a plateau, we tell them, go video yourself. And it can be a quick stand inside of a model home, because the model homes the builders are always happy for you to promote their properties, but stand inside that model home and reintroduce yourself to your own audience. And yet, if I'm giving that advice, I felt like I needed to take my own medicine. So therefore the podcast.
There you go. Awesome. Do you have any other favorite activities that you do throughout the day?
I am just in the office every day. And so I'm here to answer questions for our agents and help them. And it is truly at least once a day they come with a problem of the moment. And so I try to coach them through it.
Do you
I'll call
find
that job security. That's
It is job security for sure.
do you find the agents that are in your office, and Rick, this could be addressed to you as well, who do you think benefits most from our transaction fee model?
It's funny because I think about this answer a lot. And we have structured things so that it truly is either a brand new agent or an experienced agent. And the experienced agent can come to our model, our office, any of our offices, and benefit from having absolutely the best technology and marketing tools in the industry, but also have local broker who is there, who cares, who's passionate about our agents and what they're doing and taking care of their clients. And likely they'll be able to make a little more money with us too. So it's not just a little, but a whole lot more money with us.
I just did a video the other day, and I said, what are the two largest expenses, since it is tax season, what are the two largest expenses that agents have? One, your taxes. And two, it's a cost that's been hidden in plain sight for years. That's your broker splits. And you're not even getting the benefit of the write-off.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Their 1099s are reading what they net in most cases. You're not writing off that entire split. A higher 1099 means a lot more opportunity for your finances, for your investing, for your purchases, for building your credit. Everything relies on that 1099. But then if, when you come to HomeSmart, we'll cover those taxes pretty much, right? Very easily.
Right.
But if you're getting 35% from the government taken off your gross, and you're getting another 20, 30, even 40% from the broker splits,
It's a huge raise, huge.
enormous.
And the opportunity, you were just talking about Bitcoin. If they want to go buy Bitcoin when it's down a little bit, they have more money to go spend on Bitcoins.
You know what? I just thought about this. I put a post out the other day as well. There was a memory that came up on Facebook, and it was 6 years ago. So I've been with HomeSmart now for 10 years, or maybe 11 now. The post, it was actually a really funny post. Do you remember the show Orange County Choppers?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
okay. So
Yep.
New York has an Orange County as well. And that's in my backyard, actually in Montgomery, New York. That's where these guys are from. And to go a little bit deeper, I lived next to one of the brothers in the show, one of the unknown brothers, let's say. And our COO, Emily, her family purchased the home that these guys lived in when they were her parents purchased their childhood home. Which is
Okay.
kind of cool. So I did a meme and it was just really funny. One of the brothers was fighting with the dad and he's like, I'm leaving. The guy's, he's yelling, you'll never make it at HomeSmart. They're like, they don't charge broker splits. And he's like, cost doesn't matter. So anyway, there was this whole meme. It was a great meme. But it was 6 years ago. And I shared it the other day, and I ran some numbers on what the average agent what that number would have been to increase their income if they were with HomeSmart. And it turned out that the average agent, and I did the 80-20, 90-10, 80-20, came up and did the numbers based on $100,000 a year and $200,000 a year. On $200,000 gross, an agent would have made $369,000 more. And this is just the average. So we're taking 50-50, 90-10 brokerages coming in, $63,000 a year. So almost $400,000 a year. Then I put the compounding interest on it. It was nearly $500,000 in 6 years that they would have made with HomeSmart if they would have come 6 years ago. And
Wow.
it blows my mind. I mean, that's life-changing for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
I think in the Marketing Design Center right now, we have a graphic about, the buyers in 2030 will be thinking, I wish I would have bought 5 years ago, which is essentially now. That speaks to an agent in 2030 saying, I wish I would have gone to HomeSmart 5 years ago.
I will be redesigning that ad.
Collaboration. There we
That
go.
graph.
And one more thing I wanted to say, you had asked about the ideal agent. So I talked about the experienced agent, and then we really talked about from an income standpoint too. But we have great tools for a brand new licensee, and our mentorship program. I'm proud of our mentorship program and the way we handhold that agent. And I know state regulations are different for every state and what mentorship needs to involve and how many transactions and things like that. But I'm very, very proud of what we're able to do for a brand new agent
Same.
to them started in a career to be able to actually survive in this career because I think in most states, only about half of the agents who get their license are still around to renew their license the first renewal time. And I think that we do an excellent job of being able to get them past that, where when their first renewal comes, they're like, sure, no problem. I'm making a living.
That's right. The way that I present it to them, or I tell a mentor straight up, the mentorship program is not only here to help you build a foundation, but it's also, selfishly or not, for our current agents, if you're standing in a room with people, you want to be proud of the people that you're standing next to. So that's why they do it. Just like you guys, one of the worst phone calls you can get as a broker, right? From another agent or from another broker, and they call up, they're working with a new agent, and they say, I'm working with this person. Are they new? Right? We don't get those anymore. That does not happen with the mentorship program. So yes, that's something I'm super proud of. And you also mentioned hand holding, Brenda. And this is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine because I know you guys hold hands with every single agent that you have, no matter if they've been in the business for 10 minutes or 10 years. Everybody needs some hand holding once in a while. So if someone's interested in HomeSmart and they think they need a little more hand holding than we can give them, I can probably guarantee you're going to get more hand holding here, and we're not even going to know that we're doing it.
It's what we naturally do. Yes.
That's right.
And it's that accessibility too. You mentioned the broker hours you do. I do a broker hour. Rick, I know you do as well. I mean, it's having those calls where our agents are not only invited, but encouraged to show up. There's my just show up again. Show up and listen in. Even if they don't have something to contribute or a question to ask that week or that month, just be there and listen in from the others. I love the way We on our call this week, we were talking about things that seemed it was technology, so it seemed not real estate specific, but it actually was because it was specific to how one of our agents was reaching out to clients and asking for advice on how to do that, what technology platform to do his specific task with. So we fit things together, and I wouldn't have thought about doing a class on that, how
Right.
to use your phone. But it was a new feature that our agents were thrilled to be able to hear about. It's that collaboration and that open honesty just to be there.
Exactly. And the three of us, we're here, we're all in office right now. So, you know,
Yes.
they get that hybrid. They get to have the freedom to run their business any way that they want to. Plus they have the brick and mortar locations. So it's, yeah, and people always ask, how's the brokerage doing, the changing market? HomeSmart's fit for every market.
Every market and every industry shift also, because we've all been in this industry long enough that we have seen the ups and the downs of a true market crash. And when we were helping people out of homes because they were facing foreclosure or short sales, and we've been through those markets, and then we've been through the crazy markets where every house is getting multiple offers. It's our model fits for those agents, no matter what the season is within the industry.
That's right. And the power of experience of their broker. You're dealing with your broker. I would say just about all of our franchise owners, their agents are dealing with the broker. They're not dealing with a manager who's on a salary, who's not picking up the phone after 5 o'clock or on the weekends, or, or they're getting bonuses on production or recruiting or anything. They have other motivations. One broker pointed out to me years ago, he used to say, come New Year's Eve, when that ball is dropping, right? And as an agent, you're leaning over to give a smooch to your significant other or a hug or whatever. And the other brokerages and the managers in those offices, number one, leading up to that, there are sometimes compensation or commission adjustments that the agents, whether you're going to go, you're going back to an older split. So those other brokerages are like, yeah, the ball's dropping, everyone's rolling back, right? That doesn't happen here. And the same thing with the managers as well. They're rolling back to a lower split, which means a greater incentive for the managers in the office.
Absolutely.
So it's, yeah, pretty neat. But I so appreciated the time with you guys for sure.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you both for being here today. I have loved chatting with you as always, and appreciate you taking the time to share with us, with our audience, with our future agents, with our current agents, so that we can really shine for them and show them that we can help them have a better career in real estate with us. Thank you. This episode has been sponsored by HomeSmart Stars. Agents, do you feel unseen, unheard? Maybe wish you had better commission? Maybe wish that you were welcomed and encouraged to just show up as you are and be your true authentic self, and have all the training and support and tools to help you thrive in your real estate career? If so, then you need to reach out to HomeSmart Stars and make HomeSmart Stars your home for real estate.